Tired of winning the tailgate, but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squaring Around with Jakob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Squaring Around. I'm Jakob Rodriguez. That's the Texas State Sports Prez, Andrew Zimmel. This week on Square Talks, we were joined by Coach Z from the women's basketball team ahead of their Sun Belt Conference tournament. They won't play on Tuesday, they won't play on Wednesday, and they won't play on Thursday. They're playing Friday. They got a double round bye. So it was really cool being able to talk to Coach, basically just focusing on, things that they got to dial in on and what their kind of week looks like really this week.
I know as they gear up to go to Pensacola, and we talked about, what is the better location, New Orleans or Pensacola? We decided to agree to disagree. But what's interesting is I was getting text messages all weekend, Jacob, from Bobcat fans asking me when we were going to talk to Coach Z. They said, we saw the TJ interview. Where's the Coach Z interview? And I said, you know what? Just give it us a couple hours. We'll get one out for you. So here we are.
That came down to scheduling, because I guess maybe maybe they knew Coach Johnson was going to have to catch the earlier flight, and so they were like, yeah, you got to do it this week if you're going to do it at all. So we squeezed him in. I did myself because Zimmel was in a blizzard last week, so happens. And so I talked to Coach Johnson, and but yeah, we know that now Texas State will play on Tuesday for the men's, and then
yeah.
But yeah, Coach Z had a lot of great things to say. We just want to get right to the interview, so enjoy. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Squaring Around. This is Square Talks, where we talk Texas State coaches, Texas State players, everybody that makes Texas State athletics tick. This week, we're super thrilled to be joined with Coach Z from the women's basketball team ahead of the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Coach Z, this has been an awesome year to watch y'all. Super cool that y'all are going in as a 2 seed, and so y'all won't play till Friday. So you're looking at 2 matchups. I guess run me through your game plan for both. Obviously preparing for both, or
Well, for sure, the first thing we did is allow rest, right? We got some old bones, as you know, some real old bones on this squad because they had the ability to take that COVID year. So they needed some time off. So they took the last 2 days off. We'll go pretty hard today and tomorrow. And then our travel day is going to be Wednesday. We're going to head down Wednesday. Give them a little bit of free time, to be honest with you. I've always believed in one of the best things about being able to be a student athlete and travel is we should allow our students to be able to go out and see places, do things. So we've always done that. I was able to do it as a student athlete, and I appreciated that. I met other student athletes when I was a student athlete who didn't get to go places, right? You'd be in Disneyland, they wouldn't get a chance to go. You'd be at a beach, they wouldn't get to go. You'd be in historical landmarks. And so I've always appreciated my coaches, and I've really taken that on now. So we're going to get in early, and they're going to have limited beach time, but they will have an opportunity to get out to the beach in Pensacola, which I think is nice. We're there. They should be able to enjoy it. We don't play until Friday, like you said. And truly Wednesday is going to be more of a relaxing off day for them. Then we'll watch the game together, because we have a tough Lafayette and a tough Appalachian State team playing each other, and it could be anybody's game at the end of the day. So we'll watch it, and then we'll hit game mode. We're back in the thick of it to get ourselves prepared. We'll practice at a local facility on Thursday, and then obviously the game is on Friday. And no matter what, I know it's going to be heated because this Sun Belt Conference has been so tight on the women's side, as you can see. And that makes it also exciting because the games have really come down to the wire. So many games have come down to the wire. There's so many overtime games that have happened, right? Southern Miss just played Lafayette into an overtime game for that senior game right after we played them. I think there's just some interesting upsets that we've seen as well across the board. So it's going to be really important that we focus.
So you went to New Orleans for however many years, and then Pensacola now. Which one do you like more as the destination spot?
So the destination spot, I have to say, and I think we'd all agree, it's got to be Pensacola. And let me tell you why. When you go, let me tell you why. Can I tell you the why?
Let's hear it.
We were playing, at Lakefront Arena. You know how far away that is from being near, the French Quarter? It's so far away. So as far as the atmosphere and the feel, it was really tough. And that's where UNO plays, which great facility, but we were just really tough to get fans involved and excited about, coming to New Orleans because it was so far. So what are you going to get an Uber every single time? You go out there. I think people enjoy the ability to be able to have, walkable situations. And the difference with Pensacola is you have the beaches. You have the Florida beaches, which I think a lot of people enjoy. You still have the adult entertainment that folks like to do, that the same level you do in New Orleans, minus the gambling. Okay. And then you also have a great facility in the Bay Center. So the Bay Center is a pretty nice playing facility. I don't have any complaints about that facility at all. So that's why, Andrew, I will tell you, that makes it more fun for a fan experience. For a fan experience, it's more fun. For a family, you got to consider families, okay? You have to consider young professionals as well, and then just your local fans. I think that's what you find. We get a lot more locals in Pensacola than we did in New Orleans.
I guess, okay, if you bring the local fans of Pensacola, fine. But, there's no Sunbelt team in Florida. That's my thing too. You know what I mean? It's like we're going to I guess a neutral site, which is fine. But I think that New Orleans should be kind of like the hub for all Sunbelt stuff. You know what I mean? I think that's a really good hub. That's where we go for football. That's where we go for basketball. It's just everything. I think I like that city as a spot. Whereas Pensacola, it's cool. You know what I mean? Where are you going for spring break? Oh, I'm going to, Daytona Beach. Oh, I'm going to Miami. Where are you going? Pensacola. It's oh, okay, cool.
Would you rather be Panama City? Does Panama City sound more fun and exciting than Pensacola? They're about the same. I mean, no offense to either town from that standpoint. I understand what you're saying, having a centralized place where all things Sunbelt happen. That's where the conference office is. So I understand that. I think the thought process was to have more fan engagement. And we have more fan engagement. I believe I'd say it's early, but the experience was really good. I think the student athletes really enjoy the experience. Let me tell you, our parents are excited about being able to go too. So I think that piece of it's fun, but I understand what you're saying. And it's a little bit further away, but we are the most west team. So I think that does make it difficult as far as travel is concerned. Why don't you go ahead and see if we can get Keith Gill on the podcast, see what he has to say.
I've tried before. We've tried to get Keith.
I believe you have. There's one thing I know, Andrew, Jacob. I know for sure you've tried. Keep trying. See if you can get him.
I think it could happen potentially, but I'm glad you lectured Zimmo on this because I was watching the baseball game yesterday on my drive up, mostly listening to it. Really, you can't text and drive or anything like that. But every once in a while, I would see the Sunbelt graphic, and it would go one Texas State school, right? And then everybody else just starts populating too, especially as much as, the Sun Belt has kind of exploded too in the last couple of years, just adding schools left and right.
And we've done a pretty good job, right? I was just explaining to someone when we were at Arkansas State, he was new to being, he was a police officer, actually. He was the one who escorted me. And he was just new to the collegiate area of sport. And I was explaining to him, well, there is a rich history with baseball right now in this particular sport. And there was a national championship that wasn't too long ago. So I said, baseball is really competitive. There are a lot of sports that are highly competitive in the Sun Belt Conference. And so I do like the direction the Sun Belt Conference is moving to. Obviously, the additions of the teams that we brought in have been great. Right. You look at men's basketball, women's basketball, Southern Miss, top notch, Marshall, top notch. JMU, I can't speak as much to, and ODU on the men's side, but on the women's side, I mean, JMU, right, co-champions along with us. They have a young woman who's probably going to be player of the year. So I like who we've added. I think it really adds landscape, and for sure they do in football as well. Volleyball, we can keep going on and on.
I like the Sun Belt the way it's set up now because it feels like Texas State continues to just fly under the radar when it comes to these things. I talk to people all the time. I go, maybe it's because football is the front door, the porch of the institution, and that's why. But it feels, I think, partly geographical too, that all of those teams on the East, and then you look at the Southeast, Alabama, Mississippi, that area, Texas State kind of gets left off when we talk about these dominating teams. Does that kind of help you? Do you feel like you ever sneak up on teams because you're so far west, fans don't remember us out here?
I don't think we necessarily sneak up on coaches at all.
Okay.
I think there's an understanding from a basketball perspective, who you have, your style of play, things of that nature. But I agree with you. Football's always been the front porch, right, of our programs in America. And I think that's important to understand and be supportive of, right? I'm really excited about our new football coach. I'm excited to see what his style is going to be. From everything I've heard, I haven't had a chance to meet him yet because I've been in season and he's been hitting the ground running recruiting wise. I actually have met his wife. She's a wonderful young woman. Really a coach's wife, if you will. She was telling me about her battle she had when she was a basketball player. So I was like, all right, he's got a feisty wife. I'm excited to see, what he's going to produce out there on the field. But I do know that he's worked really hard right now from a recruiting standpoint. I've heard truly nothing but good things about him from his coaching world. And so I'm excited to see what he's able to do. And I definitely think we have a phenomenal product here. Like y'all, I think we have a great product here. Once we get this thing rolling, there's going to be no secret. We're not going to be under anybody's radar. Overall, I think there's an understanding that, Texas is a hotbed for athletics, and this is the best school in the state, period.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Oh, it is about Texas State being the best. No, literally, this is the best school in the state. I can go back and forth, you got your Rhodes Scholars at Rice. We'll give you that. Okay, we'll spot you that. But outside of that, who's got a better campus? Who gives you that true college campus feel with the amount of students that we have? We have, alumni. Our alumni base is phenomenal. I was flying through Memphis to go play at Arkansas State. I met somebody from the 80s, right? Eat 'em up cats, asking questions. I meet people everywhere. It's amazing and it's awesome. And he left, he said, for 16 years, went and worked in another state. And guess where he's back? He's back in Texas now, working in Waco, and I'm getting him to some games. My husband's like, I got baseball tickets for you lined up if you need them, softball tickets lined up. You need to get back down on campus. And he was excited about it, right? Because he got to see as an alum that, hey, here we are, we're traveling, our teams are doing well. I love being able to just see our alumni, get them excited, especially when you're traveling on the road, to get them to come back. It's awesome.
I thought you also had like one of the best, I guess, responses to, you got that big record. You got Coach Fox's record this year, and everybody wanted to know, like, hey, how does it feel? You did this great thing. And you were like, job's not finished, like, what are you talking about? Like, we're here to do one thing, that's to win, keep winning, and go win a Sun Belt championship.
The goal is to make a run, and we have to get better. I honestly haven't had any time to reflect on it. I'll be honest with you. I was a bit of a tyrant saying, don't talk about it. I don't want to even talk about it at all. I want to focus on beating Lafayette. And then we got to this game and everybody was completely quiet, which I appreciated because my focus truly has been finding a way to beat Georgia State, as it will Arkansas State. I think time to reflect will come at the end of the season because of when this falls. But I'm humbled, like I said. I love being a Bobcat. I love the opportunity for me as a woman of color as well to be able to lead these young women. There's a lot of positives, but again, I'm not in reflection mode. I'm really right now wanting to wrap it up with y'all, go celebrate with them, and I know to get myself ready for Arkansas.
2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Okay. You're right, but that's really how it is, Jacob. I'm actually I just texted the team last night, so they know this already. I said when it hits 12:01, we're back to 0-0. We let them enjoy it. I'll tell you, as a coaching staff, we enjoyed it for that day, and then boom, we've already moved into scouting mode. They should enjoy it. They've earned it. They've worked hard. We have these COVID seniors who returned, right? You have Denasia and Kennedy who could have gone off and played professionally. They made the decision to come back because they really wanted to win a championship. So they deserve this time to kind of bask in the happiness and the hard work. But boom, we all know as mid-major student athletes and as a mid-major program, we got to win it all in order to go to the NCAA tournament. And so it's really important that we refocus ourselves, don't get caught up in the excitement and flash right now, and get ready to play Appalachian State, who played us down to the wire, and obviously Lafayette, who we split with. We got to be prepared for either one of those teams if we're going to make a run. And so that refocusing definitely is happening for this team at 12:01 a.m. today.
Most about you, Coach. I was going to say, that's what I love the most about you, Coach, because I feel like a lot of fans get really excited for these little benchmarks, oh, okay, this coach hits this major, wins record and I'm looking at it, and I think you probably are too. Let's hang some banners. Let's win the big things. Let's get, you know what I mean? And I love that answer because that's kind of where my head's at too as a fan. Like, very cool. We win the regular season. The thing that matters most is winning the tournament, right?
No. Let's so let me
No?
tell you. I will say this: winning a regular season is much harder than winning a tournament because you got to win multiple games.
Yeah.
You got to go through a lot. But if you really want to make it extra special with that layer, winning the tournament and winning the regular season, now that's GOAT status for this class. I will say that. And that's what I want for them. And I want it so bad because I had it as a student athlete. And two of my coaches, Coach Jerica Jenkins and Coach, Paige Love, they both were mid-major student athletes, both point guards who won their regular season and then took their team to the NCAA tournament. So that's really what I want because the feeling is like no other. It's not the same as a coach. It's just not the same as a coach. So I'm with you on, we want more, but I never want to downplay the fact that winning a regular season championship is special because you go through so much. We had so many different student athletes with injury. I don't think people remember this. Nasia Hood only played 5 games in the preseason. Then she missed 3 or 4 more games in the conference season. And Kennedy's playing with injury. Tiana Eaton came back injured and has been playing through injury. So you got a lot of players that have just fought hard to win this, opportunity to have this regular season championship. But yes, I don't want to say we're greedy, but our eyes are definitely on trying to make sure that we hit that next mark and kind of win it all. So maybe that's what you feel too, Andrew, but I just wanted to make sure I was pretty clear on, we do want to get it for sure. But I definitely want to recognize the fact that they got the regular season.
Is it greedy to want more though? Like that's my thing. Like it's not.
Hey, Gordon Gecko, that greed is good. Gordon Gecko is not always true.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
True, but in the case of this, no, this is not. It's not. To push yourself to do better, push yourself to want more, and when it's obtainable, it's not. And I still believe we're not playing at our best. If we'd plateaued, I would say, it's going to be tough. But I still think there's things that we can be doing better, and so we're going to work on that these next 2 days. And I also believe in this team.
What is it? What are those things you need to do better?
Rebounding for sure. Rebounding. We got to rebound better. We're not a great rebounding team. They're tired of hearing me say, I've never seen a team so good defensively who is marginal rebounding wise. I said, it's actually phenomenal from a statistics standpoint. And I was a stats minor that we're able to win the way we have because we sure don't rebound well. So then you take a look at, we got some pretty good scores, right? And I think that makes a difference. And then just our style of play. We're not jack 'em ups. We're not pushing. We're not running. We're not a tempo team that way. There are quite a few tempo teams in this conference. So controlling tempo is important to us and quality of shots important to us because we don't rebound well. Yeah, that to me has got to get better. It's constant. They're tired of hearing Pat Summitt's quote, right? Pat Summitt's quote is, right, anytime, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, and then rebounding wins championships. And they've heard it over and over and over. And so I think it's really important that they understand that moving forward, we've got to do a better job rebounding.
Some people say rebounding is an effort thing.
It is. It's an effort thing. And then the other piece of it is timing. You do have to have pretty good timing. The Dennis Rodmans of the world wouldn't have been so good if it wasn't just effort, but he has to have good timing. If you don't read the ball well, you can mistime it. And that's an area I think that, you have to work on over years. That's something that you either an innate sense you have, like he had, or something you have to work on. Because a lot of people can crash, but you're crashing and you're out of position, right? Or the athletes that are really intuitive, they know who's getting the majority of the shots. Who's getting the majority of the shots? Well, 75% going the opposite side. So you're already paying attention. Oh, well, she's probably going to shoot. So I'm already positioning myself, pushing this other kid underneath. I mean, those are the best rebounders that really understand that. So, yeah, I would say 95% of it's effort, but the other 5% is really your technique and understanding, how the ball bounces.
It's a really good way to put it. I like that a lot.
You talked about this after the JMU loss, Coach, but you wanted to see them play more at like a championship level. Have you seen kind of that change down the stretch, or what have you been noticing?
Yes, for sure. The talk that they have with each other, the way they communicate with each other, the intentional way that they communicate on the bench has been really important. The way they respond and they listen to us, the way they rally around each other when they do have failures, I think that's really important, right? There's times where also teammates might struggle with a call with an official. They're right there to help them kind of work through that. If she misses a free throw, they're there to pick each other up. So the accountability, but yet at the same time, cheering for each other, picking each other up. The bench energy is phenomenal, has been really good. I think those are the things obviously that it takes to be able to get to that level. And then this run, we had a tough run to finish out. That loss to JMU really could have just set us back. And we could have been in our feelings, as they say, but we weren't, not at all. And they knew, right, win these next 3 games, there is a potential path. And so the entire time they believed and worked hard to put themselves in the best position. And that path did happen, right? They didn't know until after the game we didn't know until after the game either at Arkansas State that we were Sun Belt champions. So it was really exciting to be able to share that information with them. When those scores came out, it was pretty surprising. They did not know anything. Maybe the only game they might have known about was the JMU Marshall game going into our game, but they didn't know about the other scores. So.
Does that make it easier just to kind of be like, okay, put all the noise aside, we'll figure it out when we figure it out. Let's just focus on the game at hand. Does that make your job easier as a coach?
For sure. And that's the way we've taken every game, right? So right now we're taking each game at face value, not being concerned about the next game moving forward. The coaching staff will take care of that. And I like that. Then they've taken that on, and that's a very mature way, right? They're not looking, forward to a particular team. They're looking at the current team. We definitely foster that environment.
Does it make it easier or harder just because that top 5 can kind of really be wherever, it came down to those last couple of games?
I think the stressors that they have are alleviated if we focus as a coaching staff with them on the next game and being concerned about the next game and where we can get better. And a lot of what we are doing now in this latter part of the season is more about focusing on us getting better than it is necessarily the opponent, because you've seen so many different styles of play. You've played all these other teams. Okay, where do we need to get better? And then when we take a look at scouting film when we played them the first time, where did we falter? And what potential adjustments will they make? So it's a lot of just, cleaning up, some small cleaning up. And the rest is really truly on the team. So I find that if we keep them focused, it makes it easier.
Who do you think is going to be the X factor in this tournament, Coach? When you look at a player on your team that you say, okay, I like the way that they progressed all season, but they could have a really big tournament this next couple weeks.
Oh, that's a tough question, Andrew. It's a really tough question. When I'm looking at X factor, I think more recently we've seen Sierra Dixon come off the bench. She used to play and start for us. She's gone through some injury this season, so it's been tougher to get in the rotation. She's now back in the rotation. She could see more minutes for us. It definitely plays a hand in playing back-to-back games. So she potentially could be an X factor. And then the other X factor for us easily could be our other young woman that comes in off the bench, and that's Taylor Pruitt, right? The transfer from SEMO. I think she can stretch the floor. She obviously is helped us with a lot of the stress that Kennedy sees as a point guard. She can come in, she can run at that spot. It allows Kennedy to have some stress relief and then allow Kennedy to shoot and score from the perimeter as well. So it's truly tough to say who that X factor can be, because I can point to a couple different players. And 2 years ago it was Jakob Bowie. She was a big X factor. Jakob could step up. It could be honestly anyone. I think everybody's taking a look at Kennedy and Denasia and saying those two are tough, but then you can't let anybody else go off. But you're right, Andrew. There's some young women in this program that potentially could for us.
All right, good stuff.
Sweet. I guess last question I had, Coach, is what did y'all learn from the JMU loss?
That we're right there, right? There's some execution errors there at the end, communication, execution errors at the end. That we're right there, and that we deserve to be in the conversation. And heck, now we're co-champions right there along with JMU, who also is very senior, very mature as far as who they have in their program and what they're able to do. So I like that we understood that. And again, the bounce back. The bounce back from this team, that's what you want, right? Fall down, what do they say? Fall down 7 times and get right back up is really important. And that's what we did. We did that against Troy. As a matter of fact, the coaching staff pointed this out. We've taken some hard losses and we come back that next game and we've been refocused, and that's a sign of maturity and understanding and getting better. So I think there's a lesson learned and there's an understanding. There's an understanding, though, playing every single game in this conference, that everyone has a target on their back. You can't take a break. And if you want to find your way to the tournament and go deep in the tournament, you're going to have to bring your entire bag, right, and be able to use it.
I think we talk about maturity. We talk about the senior group a lot. And this is, again, sorry, this really will be the last thing. college basketball kind of goes in waves where like a couple years ago it was like, oh, who has the youngest like 5-star playing, who can throw. And now it feels like maturity just across the board, especially with the COVID seniors. It feels like whoever has the most upperclassmen with the most minutes, with the most experience, with most reps, that team is going to be the team that wins. And, you have a couple of players who kind of like they've seen a lot of basketball. They played a lot of basketball.
You're right. I take a look at the men and the women, because even if you take a look at the transfers that they have, a lot of these transfers are playing at a high level on the women's side and the men's side, because even JMU, right, they've got 2 student athletes that are playing and starting for them. They're transfers, and they played. And so that experience says something to you. And then if you add in a layer of they're hungry and their experience is one that they're really enjoying and they like their teammates, then, I mean, that's tough. That's a tough act to follow. I think that's where the portal has been positive for coaches. Obviously, there's drawbacks as well. In our case, we have 2 transfers in this 6 senior class. And those transfers are Tiana Heaton, who came in as a traditional transfer when she came in from California. And then we had, I have Taylor Pruitt as a grad transfer who had already, done her thing out there at SEMO, was starting point guard, won a championship out there with them. And so we add her to the mix with the 4 COVID, the original, they call themselves the OGs. Came back to win a championship. I think you're right. As far as that's where that maturity and that 1-2 takes over, and there's very little coaching that happens with that. It's more fostering a positive environment and helping them understand when they fail that we're going to be okay. But that hunger, that 1-2, especially out of this current cohort, this current generation, you don't see it as much. Just think about this. How many student athletes have you watched jump in the portal, and then how many have stayed? Denasia Hood and Kennedy Taylor staying shows loyalty to being Bobcats. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm telling you, people were calling them left and right, trying to get him to transfer and to leave. And they said, no, like, we're not. Like, I believe we got something special here. I believe we can get it done. Like, to me, we should be hanging banners just for that loyalty alone. When you can leave, when, you can get this NLA money, you go right up the street up north to some of those schools up there, women's basketball, they're handing out $30,000, $40,000 a year. Yeah, NLI money. There's big money out there now in women's. Well, I'd say big money. There's good money.
Oh, there's
right?
good money. $40,000.
That was more than I was getting paid last year, Coach.
Yeah, I know, right?
Kia Soul money, Coach. That's great.
They stayed. They're both in a master's program. One's a first-generation student. Like, how special is that? It is just awesome to have these women. And I mean in all sincerity, I don't know if there are going to be very many more like this. I just don't. I think they're a very special breed of Bobcats that we have here. My hope is that it'll be like this, but with the way the portal's been, folks are chasing, they're chasing a lot more than they're actually growing where the grass, right where they are. And but I'm thankful for who we do have. And so however this falls, I'll forever be in debt to these young women for making the decision to stay and be Bobcats and to finish out their degrees. And they know what we know, right? Texas State's the best in the state, period.
I'm about to start singing the fight song. That hyped me up.
Yeah. Well, but it is exciting.
Yeah.
And we're all a part of that. Y'all were there for that 2018 class that did phenomenal, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's good to see. It's great to see our athletes and our alum be successful and that they want to stay and they're not trying to jump over to, I won't name those schools, those other schools, right? This is where it's at.
We got to get a tampering deal going here. People trying to call Kennedy Taylor to get her to leave. That's the big headline here. That's crazy.
Good luck with that. We won't get any NCAA talk. No way. Good luck with that.
That is fine. That's fine, Coach. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Coach. This is awesome.
Hey, I love talking to our alum. I think this is great that you guys are running this podcast. It's really fun, and you're bringing a youthful take to it too, which I think is important. I think there's definitely an interest in Gen Z in sports. You just got to be able to pitch it the right way. So it's great what you guys are doing.
Sweet.
Well, they say there's not enough podcasts, Coach. They say that they needed one more.
Listen, you'd be surprised how many people listen to podcasts.
Yeah, as somebody who works in radio, that makes me real happy.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. No, podcasting is like really the.
I mean, you can download them and you can listen to them at any time. Like, it's just really cool. And whenever you hear one, somebody just shoots me a text like, "Hey, you got to listen to this." So I think it's great. I think it's cool. It's a neat avenue to get information out for all generations. So that's what I like about it. You kind of hold it, and you know that that boomer age group, they listen to podcasts too. Once they learn how to download or they have somebody to help them, they do, because their eyes and the reading, like they get tired of reading. It's easier just to listen. And I say this with sincerity with my in-laws and my dad. So that's like their thing, right?
Yeah, this is a glowing endorsement for the podcast, Jacob. You got to cut this.
Yeah, I know. This is awesome. Thanks, guys, so much.
Oh man,
but I'm being truly sincere. Yeah. It's a really neat way to get information out. That's not you're run of the mill. So thank you guys for doing it. Thank you for doing this podcast. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Anytime, yeah. Thank you.
All right, fellas.
All
right, we'll take all prayers and luck and wishes. Yes, I'm gonna take it all. We're gonna take it all. We're gonna work our hardest.
Thank you. Thanks.
Gotcha.
Bring me back a banner.
I'm gonna do. Hey, we got you one. I'm gonna try to work on the second one.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks,
all right. Got you. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks again, Coach. I love Coach Z. I don't know if I can express that any different. But she's like one of the best interviews, I think, just even in itself, right? Like she does all these press conferences when it's, one or two people in, if the guys from Austin aren't making the drive, and she always makes it entertaining. She always makes it insightful to what's the team's going on. Everything she answers, if you ask a question, just even at a face value, she makes everything super intentional. And I've always appreciated about that.
Well, she's a really good coach, but she's a better ambassador, I think, to Texas State. We talked a little bit about, how great the school is. And, she brings it, I think, almost more than some alumni do when it talks about like defending the school. And that's what I think what's really cool is that you have coaches who will defend Texas State tooth and nail. And, that's one of the reasons she's been around for as long as she has. It's great.
Yeah. And to see her own career kind of take off, we talked about that a little bit, the importance of individual records or regular season titles and stuff like that. But like, it all means something in the end, and like her legacy really has been not only building the school's brand, building her own, and then in the process, like making it all, go together and in just one direction.
I still stand by I want a tournament banner.
Yeah.
That, I understand the regular season.
Promised you her 800 win banner. And then Coach Z basically told you that the regular season title is for you.
Yeah. I want the tournament banner. Give me an NCAA tournament appearance. Let's do it. I'm here for
one piece of the string that they cut down.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I don't think I'll ever. Well, let's rephrase it. I think it'll happen. At some point, I do believe that we will be sent something from one of these coaches. Might be a death threat, but it'll be something.
If football season comes around, they will come fast, I'm sure.
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, great episode. Always appreciate Coach Z. She's such a great coach, great mentor to all her players, and even others. I think she makes us better journalists, to be honest, because she was one of the first people that was like very real in press conferences, I think. And so it's like, hey, these questions that you have, these impact people.
I like it because she's funny.
She is funny too.
She's really funny.
And she can switch it on and off, like one to the other.
I had a really good interview with her 2018, maybe 2019. And we were talking about like the different like coaching philosophies and injuries. And it was funny because I like had done a lot of prep for the interview. So I had known I went to a lot of the games. So I knew all the players from like front to back. And we went through the roster and like pretty much a scouting report on every single one. And I think that was the first time that I had a coach that was just like, that's right, that's wrong. This is like what you're not seeing with this. This is like something like that, And it was good. And it was really good. It's fun because she treats, and this is, you should treat college journalists, as well as you treat a New York Times reporter, right? But like she treats every reporter like with respect, which is, something that you can't say about every person. So that was great. She was really good to me in college. She's really good to both of us in college. She's really good to us now as alums. So that's great.
Well, because if you have a press pass, she's going to be nice to you. And then like, kind of like you and me, like who knows where our careers could have taken us, but they took us right back to the school with experience under our belt. And now we got these platforms, bigger platforms, we got our podcast and we also got, who we work for. So really cool.
I need her to share the podcast with her teammates though. Like she's talking about getting these podcast links sent. I'm like, I almost wanted to ask, like, you send any of ours? Have you saw the podcast where we talked about the win total? Let's So anyway.
X Factor. Cool. Squaring around. Square Talks. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.